Yellow?
He had yellow teeth.
I think that was the Ghastly Grinner.
Yeah, and Laughing in the Dark, I remember that one too. That one was also not great for my childhood psyche.
Well, you have to understand that, well, it must have been not also great for DJ McHale as well, because he's afraid of clowns. Anyway, so yeah, interestingly how, out of The Third Eye and Are You Afraid of the Dark as the main anthology series for Nickelodeon, everybody remembers Are You Afraid of the Dark a lot more. Which is interesting because, it had various standalone stories told by different people of the Midnight Society, and each of the stories, it contained a certain theme, and they had various guests in the show. And actually, there was a lot. Are You Afraid of the Dark was very close to not even airing at all. When DJ McHale presented the script over to Nickelodeon, they basically laughed at it and said, "We're never going to make this a show because it's too scary for kids." They left the script in the background for a full year until a guy named Jay Mullamy, who was hired to Nickelodeon, he saw the script collecting dust, he picked it up, and he said to the network, "Why aren't we making this a show?" And so that's how the show became, really popular amongst Nickelodeon.
Well, if I was to say why Are You Afraid of the Dark is remembered as much, I would have to say it's the scare factor. I mean, like, when you're scared by something, or something, like, disturbs you, it usually sticks around in your head for a while, and Are You Afraid of the Dark definitely had moments that scared younger viewers, and definitely had a bit of an imprint. Like, again, like, you remember the clown from The Ghastly Grin, and then Laughing in the Dark, like again, it was just the designs and the shock value and the scare factor that I think really helped Are You Afraid of the Dark be as remembered as it was.
Yes, I think so too. But the one thing that many people do not remember about Are You Afraid of the Dark is the Midnight Society themselves. They were pretty bland, and none of them stood out.
Gary, Gary is the only one, and then, like, there's this tomboy, I guess.
Tucker, not Tom.
I guess people are more interested, really, in the story than the Midnight Society themselves.
That's true.
Which does make sense. It's a shame for them, but... Because, they were the main cast, but admittedly, we always didn't really... We only saw them at, like, the beginning and the end of the show, too.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you guys something. What did you guys think of the revival era of Are You Afraid of the Dark? When Are You Afraid of the Dark was canceled for at least 3 years, then it was brought back in 1997, and then it ran for at least until the year 2000 with new cast members, with Tucker being the leader. What did you guys think of those episodes?
They were alright. By that time, some of the, viewing audience had grown up a bit more, so sometimes the scare factor goes away a bit.
Yeah, this was supposed to be Are You Afraid of the Dark for a new generation of kids, but not a lot of people even remember this era.
Yeah, again, sometimes different generations of kids aren't as freaked out by things that an older generation may have been.
Yeah, it was either that, well, this was also during the time in which Goosebumps was at its prime, so I guess people were watching more of Goosebumps, the series, as opposed to Are You Afraid of the Dark.
So, the Goosebumps series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Goosebumps is really bad now.
You can really... That's... We were talking about 15 being a show you can watch with people and laugh at. Goosebumps is another one of those.
Yes, definitely. If you want to check out a great example about how Goosebumps became so bad over the years, check out JonTron's Halloween episodes.
Oh, I love JonTron. I've watched them like 5 times.
The revived version was actually, I guess it was alright. It's better than most revivals. Well, I think the original is pretty much the best one. Obviously, the original is usually the best.
True.
For most things.
Well, true, yeah.
When the Rugrats got canceled and then eventually came back, not many people noticed the difference, but for other shows, like, it is very noticeable when they're canceled and revived, or moved to another network and revived. Like, sometimes it doesn't always have the effect that you want.
Believe it or not, SpongeBob actually pretty much ended, well, not by the network, but by Steven Hillenburg and Derek Draymond. And then it came back, and then, that's for later parts.
Yeah.
And another one I can throw in there is Fairly Odd Parents. Also got revived.
Yes.
Well, that's for the 2000s part of this.
Yeah, that's for part 4. So now
Okay.
we can. So now, yeah, that's it for 1991. Whew, that's about like 30 minutes worth of stuff.
What about Salute Your Shorts?
Oh yeah, Salute Your Shorts. That's the last one. So Salute Your Shorts was another one that came out in 91. And it was based off of a book written by Steve Slavkin. And
Most people don't know about this.
yeah, well, basically the book is not really a book per se, like Holes by Louis Satcher. It was more like it was kind of like Ned's Declassified, in which it was basically tips about how to survive summer camp. There would be like little drawings, and it would teach you about how to build a tent and what activities to go to in summer camp and how to protect yourself from mosquitoes. So I guess
was Ned's Declassified a bit of a tribute to Salute Your Shorts?
sort of,
Could have
kind
been.
of, maybe, I don't know, but
Could have gotten some
No one knows.
well, I mean, no one knows except for the creator, but
So what about, is there a tip, like how to survive Zeke the Plumber?
Zeke the Plumber. Well, I don't know if Zeke the Plumber was in the original book, but I do know that, I think one of the chapters in the book involved with telling scary stories. So, yeah, basically, Salute Your Shorts, it was supposed to come out in 1990, but, there was a lot of delays that were going on during that time period, and the delays were so long that the original cast who was supposed to be featured on that show pretty much got too old and they had to be replaced with new people. So every single person that we know of today was the second cast that would be featured on Salute Your Shorts. You know, like Venus de Milo and Danny Cooksey and let's see, there's also Tim Iser, who's nowadays known as Trevor Iser, and then of course we had various other people. So yeah, Salute Your Shorts basically is like, let's take a group of kids and let's put it into a summer camp, and we'll see about what summer camp is like for a group of people. It was actually really interesting. I think that the show in itself had a really neat concept, but the only thing that weighs it down for me is, once again, the characters. The characters are portrayed as one-dimensional stereotypes, just like every single teen show that came out in the 90s.
It almost seems like Nickelodeon had a running trend of trying to create something like that was different, but the cast that was supposed to kind of be the glue for said show, like at least until a little bit later on in the 90s, kind of just made it fall apart and be a lot less remembered.
Well, it wasn't their fault, because that was the criteria back then. Character development wasn't like the big thing back then. If you want to have a show, basically the premise has to be cool, and then the characters were secondary. Kind of like how
Definitely.
Kind of like how cartoons were back in the 90s, in which animation was first, and then story writing was second. So it wasn't Salute Your Shorts' fault that it turned out to be that way. Yeah, it was just basically a product of its time.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. But again, it is a bit of a shame, because when you think about like that sort of characterization, some of the shows that happened in the early 90s, Nick, like all these live-action sitcoms and such, really didn't last long, and it kind of is a bit of a, like how you say, like, cool premise first and character development and such second, kind of is a pretty ominous thing for when you look at Nick now.
Exactly.
Well, does anybody think it's funny, like Danny Cooksey, who played Budnick, he was always that pain in the butt at the camp and everything? And actually, he went on to play in Terminator 2, and nobody really ever notices it, but he's John Connery's young friend on the back of the bike, that kind of rebellious guy.
Yeah, that's how Danny Cooksey actually got the role of Budnick in Salute Your Shorts, because Steve Slavic saw him in Terminator 2, and he decided to bring him over.
First, okay.
Yeah, the Terminator 2 came first. I mean, even though it did come out around the same time, it was filmed before then. So, yeah, Steve saw Danny on Terminator 2, and he decided to bring him over. Yeah, Steve Slavkin saw Ray Bauer in The Wonder Years back in the late 80s, and he decided to bring him over as Donkey Lips.
Salute Your Shorts is okay. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, Salute Your Shorts is okay. The next one is Nick Arcade.
Nick Arcade.
I love Nick Arcade.
Yeah.
Who didn't love Nick Arcade? I mean,
you can tell it's old and that it's 90s, but,
Well,
it's
yeah, I mean, like,
Phil Moore,
or
he could be annoying sometimes, like, with his singing, but he was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
that one where like Sonic the Hedgehog, and they're like, you need 25 rings in like 40 seconds, and they couldn't do it, and then jump on your Sega Genesis, like, oh, I did that easily, no problem.
It's because they were using the prototype for Sonic, and no one knew how to use the spin dash. And they'd always lose coins.
I mean, again, with Nick Arcade, like, yeah, definitely games and such, like, you can tell it's 90s. Like, video games are probably the most easily dated thing, like, of our generation. Like, you look, like, at a game 4 years ago is considered, like, old, just by how quick technology seems to, like, present itself. But Nick Arcade is still something that's pretty looked back on with a lot of fond memories. It's something that could, like, probably be done today as well, because especially with how popular video games have become.
Yeah, I think so too, but they definitely have to give a host who actually is knowledgeable with video games. Remember the episode in which Phil Moore called Dr. Robotnik Dr. Roboneck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they are going to reboot Nick Arcade, please get a host who's competent in video games.
At least get a host who knows the names of characters.
True.
Or at least get a host who can get a script of what the characters are called.
Yeah. The interesting thing about Nick Arcade was that it had a crossover with cast members from two shows. Clarissa Explains It All and Welcome Freshmen. And
they did Salute Your Shorts, too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They also did Salute Your Shorts. A lot of the games were kind of complicated if you weren't knowledgeable with video games. And let's be honest, the contestants that they brought over were not knowledgeable with video games whatsoever.
Yeah, that's one thing that I really that's the main problem with the shows. No one knew anything.
And that's why I would say that Nick Arcade would be a good show to revive, because a lot more kids now are into video games than they were back then. Like, a lot more.
Definitely. Yeah. Alright, well, now we can get into the next show, actually not exactly the next show, more like a particular lineup. Snick. Yep, Snick, which is Saturday Night Nick, which featured a lot of people's favorite shows to watch during Saturday night. Clarissa Explains It All, The Ren and Stimpy Show, and Are You Afraid of the Dark? And, of course, the black sheep of the bunch, Roundhouse.
You guys knew it was coming. We have to talk about it.
Yeah, if you've listened
Nope, I'm leaving. I'm out of here. Bye.
No, Clint.
No, you're not leaving us. You're sticking with us.
I'm joking.
If we can have the creators call us idiots, then
come on.
All right. Well, you knew that this was coming, and there's going to be a ton of people who are not going to like us. We are well aware of that.
They already don't like us. We might as well just.
Yeah, I know that they already hate us.
The most amazing thing about Roundhouse is its theme song.
Yeah.
That's like the one thing from the show that I will defend.
Well, I'll say
theme
one
song
thing.
is awesome.
I definitely remember the theme song, but I didn't watch a lot of Roundhouse.
Most people didn't, mostly because Nickelodeon...
So, I mean, if the people are angry at you for hating on Roundhouse, I had never really watched it, so you don't have to hate me.
I don't recommend it.
Except maybe you could hate me for never watching it, but you can't hate me for hating it.
That's true.
Watch the episode First Date. It is not... It's bad.
Alright, well, let's finish this off. Okay, so 1992, we had Snick that featured around that same time. And Snick was very popular for quite a while because it was like late night Saturday programming for kids if they didn't have anything else to do. If they were done with their homework, if they had friends coming over, they would just basically watch all their favorite shows on Snick, which was a big thing back then because before TiVo, before on demand, before the internet, the only way you can be able to see your favorite shows late at night was to see it during Snick time.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember Snick.
Snick was pretty avant-garde for its time, It had a lot of staying power, but unfortunately, well, I'm guessing you'll get to that later.
Yeah, we will get to that later about the downgrade of Snick, but I remember the advertisements for Snick. I remember all the commercials and the interstitials that featured during that time. It was very creative, and the best thing about Snick was they featured the orange couch.
Yeah. Yes. Who didn't want that couch?
I know.
Someone got that couch too.